podcast. Marks and I are dead. I have not slept a full night in 3 weeks. I keep doing 3-hour bursts, and it's killing me. And I mean that literally. It's killing me. I'm starting to see shadow people, Marcus. Either that or someone's been breaking into my house because I keep missing food. I'm starting to think it might be my brother. Or shadow people. Or my brother's a shadow person.
Or you're eating and you're still so effed up from not sleeping, you're not remembering.
That could explain why 8 peanut butter jelly sandwiches were missing in one outing of Parks and Rec. Got through one up, so I'm like, where did 8 buttons go? Why am I out of peanut butter? What the hell?
Oh, you think about yourself. Oh, that's fun.
I don't even know why it's gotten this way, but it happens every once in a while, and I don't know how to fix it. And the worst part is, like, I'm naturally inclined not to want to sleep because I'm always, like, trying to do something. And when I'm sleeping, I'm inactive. Like, I'm seriously looking at investing in one of those walking treadmill desks because, like, I want to work out, but I got work to do. So, like, you know, 2 birds, 1 stone. So we'll see if tonight's the night I actually get 6 consecutive hours of sleep, or if I'm up again at 4 in the morning to watch more Parks and Rec on IFC. By the by, IFC, like, Marcus, you know how there's never any good shows on after 2 a.m. because, like, all the local regional stuff, like, you know, switches over to infomercial. IFC's like, listen, man, no one watches us. Like, we've had 1, 2, 3 good shows in 20 years, and Portlandia's not even that good. But, like, we're going to air every other good show in the world after 2 a.m. So, like, if you're still up, come on by. They got Parks and Rec, Mystery Science Theater 3000, and Parks and Rec's all right. It's not great, but it's better than infomercials. And they got Community. So I'm just like, if I'm up at 3 a.m., I know where my ass is going to be. It's in that chair watching IFC. I'm Chad Porto, by the way. He's Marcus Green. We're both 2 tired boys, so we're going to try to get through this real quickly. First and foremost, we don't have photos for all this shit, so we're just going to hit the 2 first, and then we're going to slide into Dalton Castle. Marcus, Triple H, Randy Orton on NXT on Wednesday. That's a thing, I guess? Did I see that right? Is that what's happening on Wednesday? Because that's terrible.
Man, if it is, this is my first time hearing about it, but I wouldn't be surprised at this point they got to do something with try I guess Triple H filling in. Obviously, we're gonna get to that, but I it's like when they when they moved Charlotte to NXT, it didn't do nothing. I don't want to see when has Randy Orton ever been in NXT? No, so that's
No.
awkward.
And no, I was incorrect. It was the Raw main event they were in. But still, why?
Yeah, but that was I actually saw a snippet of that. I wasn't going back and watch the whole thing. That was horrendous. Triple H came back with his low monotone voice to chastise his 20-year rival slash student, and the way that it ended was just like, who's writing this stuff? Like this is all alluding around a character that you guys have buried 3 different times now. It feels like probably more.
I don't even know what the purpose of Randy Orton being on my screen is anymore. I mean, I saw that. I saw that Alexa Bliss threw a fireball in his face, and I'm just kind of thinking, sitting there myself, going, just a little bit closer next time, Lexi. Just a little bit closer. I'm not saying I want Randy Orton to be blind. I'm just saying that, you know, if he had to miss a couple weeks because he had some minor burns to his face and no facial hair, is that really the worst thing ever? I'm still pretty salty that, you know, he's a scumbag and never really had to pay any dues. Like, you know, if you're gonna do fuckery, at least do the time, man, right? Like, come on. Like, we found out who people are, you know, wearing masks were in the Capitol building with relative fucking ease. Are you telling me we couldn't get something on Randy Orton in 20 years? despite all the fucking allegations against him. Like, really? Really?
Well, maybe we'll get something on him if he ever gets in trouble and we find out he has to only be served organic food.
The best part of Shaman Ox Guy. Oh god, that's almost like a great wrestling. I'm Shaman Oxman, and I only eat organic, and I'm gonna grind you into. God damn it! What are those called? Not mulches. I'm gonna grind you into compost. How am I not
That's a,
employed by a wrestling company? I mean, come
that's
on.
that name is almost as awkward as the name from my favorite movie because it came on like yesterday, Sir Ulrich von Liechtenstein.
No, it was Galahad because they were singing where he was from. That's
Yeah.
right. Oh, I love that movie. I will fong you. Oh, Alan Tudyk, you brave little bastard, you. my my, I forget. I think it was Chaucer he punches, but there was a scene where like they're doing something before a joust, and Chaucer says something to Alan Tudyk's character, and Chaucer looks at Tudyk, and then the camera cuts to Tudyk looking at Chaucer, and then Chaucer looks away, and Tudyk goes. The camera goes back to Tudyk, and he kind of like raises an eyebrow, and then you just hear as Tudyk punches Chaucer. I'm just like, that's fucking great. Ah, that's like 90%. Well, that and the girl or young woman who plays Haley, dem boobs. But like that's 90% why I love Modern Family is because Phil is like doing pratfalls the entire fucking episode. And I love me some practical physical comedy, Marcus. It's the best. Like that's
Oh
why even
man.
though it was so dumb and I hated New DX, when Shawn Michaels randomly started kicking people, that was the funniest shit ever. And I hated
Dude,
DX.
I showed that the guy at school. He was light skinned. He literally was red for 2 straight minutes.
I forgot who he even kicked because like Stan was like somebody. And I forgot who it was. But he's like,
It
"What's
was
your
Ty
name?"
Dillon.
Oh yeah, it's right. It was Ty Dillinger. Oh, Marcus with the elephant brain, man. He never forgets. And he's just like, "What's your name?" Stan. Hi, Stan. Then bam! I just kicked Stan.
And
They
the
start
little papers went flying. Oh my god.
they start super kicking everyone down the hallway like a young buck in 2018.
Calm down, John. Oh, I wanna calm down.
And the best part was Triple H just deadpanning, going, "That's not controversial, but it sure is funny."
Oh man.
So, yeah, that was dumb that they did that. The other thing on Raw that was funny was they had Drew McIntyre do a little promo, and at first I was really mad about this because I really don't like Drew McIntyre's promo. So I was like, oh, God damn it. No, that's not why. I was miffed because I thought he was like sick, like showing symptoms and whatnot. So I'm like, they're gonna make him do a promo when he's that under the weather. Then it turns out no, he's just asymptomatic, but he tested positive. I'm like, oh okay. And then I found out that apparently Drew McIntyre went to like a wrestling party. Is that in my head? I'm hoping they're all doing spots throughout the night, like fucking Candice LeRae does a back body onto the fucking table like a Buffalo Bills fan. You got the Undertaker like doing deadpanning like face first into the water. Somewhere there's Stone Cold Steve Austin calling for random beers from the neighbor. That's what I'm hoping this party was. But apparently he was at this party with a few other wrestlers, and that's not surprising. McIntyre, Sheamus, they got friends all over the place. And since most of these guys are from Europe and their homes are in Europe and their friends are from Europe and families are from Europe and they can't travel, it makes sense that they would find wrestling buddies and wrestling families, quote unquote, to spend time with. But apparently that started a super spreading event that affected Ring of Honor, AEW. I was about to say AOC. Sorry, and then Impact as well. To what extent, we're not really sure. But apparently they had to rewrite Raw pretty heavily because they had to write a lot of guys out. Apparently Impact is like holding their breath, hoping to make sure that they don't have to cancel any matches for Hard to Kill. But apparently a lot of guys got positive tests because of this McIntyre Super Spreader event. At least that's what I read. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, and I apologize because like I'm too fucking tired to care about my ego. But like that's what I read, and if that's if that's the fucking situation, then like, can someone take a sledgehammer to McIntyre's knee and be like, "What are you fucking doing, you cunt? Stop."
Sorry, I ruined your little party. But yeah, that's when you were talking about the part. All I can imagine was like them making, like them being around the pool with a dive board, and them having Dana put on a bathing suit, which I would imagine she looked phenomenal in, and doing her little cartwheel on the diving board.
Now we're gonna have to disagree on that. I don't want to see Dana Brooke in a bathing suit. I think that bathing suit would look a lot better on the ground. Marcus goes up to the perv line. I'm on the other side finding new ways to jump rope with it.
And then I just look at Jay and go, my interest was good. His was better.
The difference? Creepy ship. Perv. Oh, how did I fuck that up? Pervmanship. Ah, it was right there. My broken brain worked well enough to come up with a great pun idea that I completely booched. I didn't even say pooched right. Oh my god. I'm so done. I was gonna say booted, and then I was thinking pooched, and then I said booched. Browns
Yeah,
won, so like I don't know. That's cool.
yeah, that's man. It's weird. Like it's not necessarily overwhelming support, but there are a lot of scattered support across Twitter for the Browns. I see.
Can I just?
It's cool.
So I told you this off the air, and I'll repeat this. For the last few years, I've been trying to be toned down, right? Been trying to be a bit more reserved, trying to find ways to bring things together and not push them apart. But I'm telling you, when you do the insurrection bullshit, I'm gonna find new ways to hate your ass. That's just how I'm wired. I don't know. I'm pretty patriotic that way. So now I've just lost my filter on everything. So this asshole last week, 'cause we played the Steelers 2 weeks in a row, and this asshole from the week before was like, you only beat us because we sat most of our guys because it's the end of the regular season. We don't fucking need this game and blah, blah, blah. Like, keep your phone on. I'm going to be texting you at 11:45 on Sunday when we win. So we're up like 28-0, and I'm feeling extra spicy today. So I go into my account, look up this motherfucker, and I sent him a text to Stone Cold going, "What?" Granted, the Steelers almost came back on us, but they didn't, thank God. But I made sure to make that a note of the night, and I went and found everyone from the week before who was talking shit, and I brought receipts like the goddamn IRS. No one responded, by the way. Everyone got real fucking quiet. It's almost like when you take a big swing, you ain't willing to come back around. I'm just saying. I audited them,
good.
Marcus, and none of them were there. None of them came back. Now, I'm not doing that this week with Kansas City. They're a good team, but I think our offense is just as good as theirs. The problem is our defense is like, I would say a black hole, but a black hole could keep someone from scoring because it would suck the ball in. So we're more like toddlers in big helmets. Like, I'm going to see Patrick Mahomes accidentally hit one of our safeties and, like, have to be scolded by the parents because our safety's actually a 3.5-year-old. Patrick, what are you doing? It's literally a toddler. Of course you can run through their arm tackles. They're asleep. It's past their bedtime. I can relate. But I'm looking forward.
I thought it was an adult. She's like, I thought it was an adult. How? He's Samoan. God damn it.
We have the actual defense from the Little Giants. We got the one kid who shimmied the pads over his head, so when he got hit and the helmet came off, everyone thought he got his head ripped off. We got him out there. Your Saints won, though, pretty decisively over the Bears. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that was a fair game. That was decent to check out. Not the most high octane game of the year, but it was cool.
So you're gonna have Brady, and I gotta have fucking Pat Mahomes. Here's hoping. Because Brady's all like, did I tell you my name is Cronus? And I'm the god of time? And I will never age. Then we look at Pat Mahomes and he's literally a goddamn Justice Leaguer. Fucking plastic man over here just whipping his arms around like shit. Like, goddamn, man. Fucking tell you, man. Fucking tell you what. All right, so let's get to the first big story. Dustin Castle. Yeah, no, that makes sense. That's how this day's going. Dalton Castle, free agent from the Ring of Honor. Now, this is actually kind of a shock because Ring of Honor signed most of their big names over the last 2 years, or re-signed, I should say. They are heralded for their extreme testing protocols for COVID. They're doing far more testing and whatnot than anyone else going besides maybe New Japan. So, like, that's impressive as hell because Ring of Honor has notoriously been stingy when it comes to putting money into the company. Because they're owned by Sinclair Broadcasting, who's bigger than the WWE in terms of Wall Street stock size. Like they're worth like $3.5 billion to WWE's billion. So Ring of Honor technically has the bigger parent company. And they never put money into it. Different story this time around. Everyone is very satisfied with this. Plus, they have the Pure title tournament that got everyone back into wrestling for them. They developed a lot of great crop of grapplers that people are excited about. Like, we're sitting here thinking about fucking, not Tracy Williams, what's his name? Really fine or super dude great or whatever his name is. Okay, something or other. I forget his name.
Talking about Goodwood?
Yeah, there it is. That's the terrible shit that I remember. Like, he's really good. I liked watching him. And, like, he got a lot of fans. John Gresham, all of 5'2", got a lot of fans. So, like, Ring of Honor is going in the right direction, man. Granted, Final Battle was bad. But also, they threw most of that show together in a week. So, it was what it was. I don't know why Roosh won. I don't know why they're still running with that angle, but all right, whatever. It's a thing. So, Castle's a free agent, AEW, WWE, they're interested. Apparently, Marty Scurll, who also is a free agent, has interest from the WWE as well. And, God, I can't imagine. Like, all right, so, like, Dalton Castle's good hand. Maybe his gimmick doesn't work on a main event level, because I don't think he's got, like, that type of credibility as a main event guy. He's a hell of a character, though. And he's one of those guys that could, like, you know, like IRS or Mr. Well, maybe not Mr. Perfect, but like IRS, the Mountie. Maybe not the Mountie. But he's one of those, he's Mr. Ted DiBiase, him. He's got that kind of gimmick that can last 20 years. You know, your Johnny Bravos and your Pope D'Angelo De Niro's. It may not get you to the main event, but you'll have a job. So I feel like he's going to be a big get for whoever because he's got a very natural gimmick that can slide into any company. But off the top of your head, Marcus, where do you want to see the Peacock go?
Yeah, you know, I'll say about the first thing nowadays is AEW, but I feel like they got enough on their roster right now. And they you know, between the dudes, and certainly they need to do something with the women, but I feel like they got enough. Impact will be interesting. I feel like with the WWE, mostly specific NXT, I don't know. Like I feel like he get 100% rebranded, which goes against like what you said, because he's been in that Peacock swag for so long. I don't know, like because you know if it wasn't for like DJZ, he might be one of the dudes that's back in Phantasma right now, and that'll be kind of weird.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I feel like you know. Like I said, I feel like AEW is too packed, and Impact will also be cool. But I feel like those two specifically are two places he could kind of, like you said, kind of just slide on in and maybe not completely change, but tweak and maybe switch like some of the swag on that character, but still keep some of the foundational points to it, as opposed to going to WWE and having a completely different deal.
It's going to be interesting to see where he lands because there's a lot of different ways he can go. And there's a lot of different places that could use him in ways that would really kind of not culminate, but highlight his talents. Like if you look at what he can do in Impact, they're in desperate need of some main event guys. Now, granted, they're in the middle of, as Dave Meltzer called it, the best angle of the year, with Swan and the Machine Guns versus Bullet Elite or Elite Club or whatever the fuck they're. Oh God, Elite Club. That's such a good name. The Super Elite, I think, is what they're calling themselves. So like they got that going on, so they don't really need, quote unquote, need main event guys, because Willie Mack and Moose just had a barn burner at Genesis. Moose is obviously the next guy in line for the belt, and he's probably gonna win it. This is a 3-year long journey for Moose, so like they don't need Dalton Castle in a main event sense, but they could definitely use him because he is a decent hand. And in Impact with smaller guys, he wouldn't be so kind of highlighted against. But then again, Impact's also been doing a lot of great signings kind of off the market. Like they went and got Ken Shamrock like a year and a half ago. That was great. Then they went and got Joe Doring 4 months ago. That was great. Although they've let him wrestle all of one time. What are you doing? I'd sit through an Eric Young match, but I don't get to see Joe Doring wrestle. And like they did the whole Cody Deaner thing where like he went from being goofy to crazy, and it's been awesome. I love it. I love me some Cody. It's like they got some real fine gems there, but I feel like Dalton Castle would be a good fit there just in terms of talent and necessity. I think he's gonna end up in NXT just because fucking WWE and AEW just throw money at people at this point. Although not really so much WWE because AEW contracts are trash. I don't make a lot of money as a writer, Marcus, but I've talked to 2 different NXT guys for the last 5 years, and I know I make more than they do. So that ain't good. But I think Dark Horse, New Japan, not New Japan proper, mind you, but they're doing that Lion Struggle or Power Struggle or whatever it's called. You know what I'm talking about? The American shows.
Yeah.
I could very much see Dalton Castle being added to that alongside guys like Jeff Cobb and Tom Lawler and going forward with that because there's that real big push for them to have that American presence. Excuse me. And I think that's like a great way to go. So I think they're the dark horse to land it, personally. But, we will see. Marcus, do you think Marty Scurll's going to have another chance to get a career, get a gig somewhere?
I don't know. He might. I mean, look, Velveteen Dream's still employed, you know.
Yeah.
So and we've talked about Rome before. Them kind of looking at tests and other stuff. They very much have their picks and chooses, as we well know, on various different degrees of things. But yeah, I could see somebody bringing him in. And he's a really talented guy, and that villain thing was, really saved his career and really was something cool to watch. But it's gonna be interesting seeing exactly, how, what happens if, like you said, he gets a job. Because that's another, situation where it's like if he comes in and he kind of just lends himself completely to WWE, he's gonna have to come up with something completely different aside from that villain thing, which was working for him.
Yeah. I mean, you make some points, Marcus. You make some points. And much like the... How am I going to make this joke? The morality in some of these signings is as absent as Kyrie Irving in the NBA this year. Oh! I want to make this clear. If something is sincerely wrong with Kyrie and his family, I don't want to make light of that at all. But part of me is worried that Kyrie finally figured out the earth is round and is not taking it well. Flip Gordon's calling him, Kyrie, don't believe it. It's flat, brother. And then we just hear, brother.
So I'm like, can't get rid of this guy.
By the by, listen, you and I try to be forgiving people. Well, I used to be until last Wednesday. But I'm going to try to be a forgiving person one day soon. Again. And you and I are both kind of try to take a forgiving stance with Hulk Hogan. But is that man so filled with CTE that he actually thinks he was getting side-eyed because he was showing up to take their spot? Did he really think that? Like, did he think they were really upset because he was there to take their spot? Really? No, Hulk. It's because you told a room of black dudes, listen, if you're going to say racist shit, just don't get caught. That's why they're pretty salty, man. Like, fuck.
He wants to Ace Ventura somebody again so bad.
Right? Like, my gosh. Before we move on to the next one, I got to bring this up. Mil Muertes is coming back to TV, Marcus.
Oh man, I was really excited to see that. It would be a chef's kiss if it was Rick Katrina, but look, I was, coming out of Lucha Underground. We talked about it. I was like, Mil Muertes, to not have that guy back in some form of fashion, specifically with that gimmick, it would be a waste.
Mm-hmm.
And I was wondering, like, because I felt like he dropped completely off the map, and I think you told me he was just doing some other stuff elsewhere. But, to get him back on, some type of prime time thing, and MLW is, constantly growing. It's going to be great, and the potential to see him maybe run afoul with Fatu. Great stuff.
Oh, that's a Haas fight. Oh, that is Haas-arestic. Mil Muertes is the former Judas Messias from TNA. Way back in the day.
Yeah.
So, for those of you who don't know that, he only wrestled 7 times, too. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's fucking crazy. Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry. He wrestled 10 times. My bad. But he's been with CMLL and AAA the last few years. This is interesting for a few reasons. One, yes, Katrina wouldn't kick her out of bed. But if I'm being honest, Selena De La Renta is a far better promo and a far better character than Katrina could ever be. So, I don't know how they're going to do the storyline because, they're going full-on Lucha Underground Mil Muertes. Selena De La Renta summoned him through a blood ritual at a temple. He hasn't debuted yet, but that's essentially how she brought him henceforth. So, they're clearly borrowing from the storyline. So that's interesting. So maybe we'll get a Katrina sighting. Secondly, I thought Mil Muertes was an owned gimmick by Lucha Underground. So if that's the case, then that means other gimmicks that were in place might be free, and that means maybe theme music. Who knows? There might be a opportunity to feast a little bit more on the corpse that is Lucha Underground. All I know is if I'm Crazy Steve, I'm going out of my way to try to get Pentagon's theme from Lucha Underground. Because that's the tastemaker theme right there. Oh, it's so good. Fucking breaking arms.
That guy? Can you imagine him with that full regalia, ruining Sting's debut in AEW?
Well, knowing how they do things in that company, it would more than likely be he'd come out and be like, puta, and then he'd jump off the top rope into a chair. And then Phoenix would do a zip line into the stadium, and then they'd start fighting for no reason, and then Kingston would be like, family, we got to stop fighting, and Sting would be like, I'm going home, it's 6 p.m, I need to be in bed in an hour.
But for some reason when he walks it's snowing.
Man, Sting got some real bad dandruff. All those years dyeing his hair finally caught up with him. So anyway, Messias is debuting this Wednesday on MLW. So definitely check that out. They're advertising Low-Key being in action and Conan, who cares? But the main event is Ross and Marshall Von Erich versus LA Park And goddamn it, so like there's LA Park Junior, there's El Hijo de LA Park, and then there's another park. So there's 4 of them now. I want to say this is El Hijo de LA Park. So it's father and son versus brothers for the main event for the tag team titles. Like I know everyone's gonna be geeked out for Dynamite because like that's what people do nowadays. But like be sure to check out Fusion at 7. Excuse me. Because you got
Yeah,
Mil
man,
Muertes and a
I'm there.
tag title main event.
Yeah, I'm there for that, man. Like it's funny, like this LA Park thing, because the only way I ever get is when you explain it, and I would imagine that's how like it is for a lot of people, with the NOI family tree. It's like, so wait a minute, he's your cousin, or your cousin?
Is she your cousin in a way that's weird if you make out? Or is she your cousin in a way where you can get married and have kids and it's only a little bit weird? Like I'm trying to figure that out for science reasons. You know me. I'm all about the science. That takes us to Jay White being a free agent. I believe his Spanish name is Fetus Face.
Fetus face.
So Puberty Beard is allegedly hitting the open market, allegedly. But he also allegedly has a 7-year contract. Who knows what's true? 1, do you believe that he's actually going to be a free agent? And 2, if he was, would you sign him? I have the hiccups, so you're going to have to talk for a little while.
Yeah, it's funny, man. Because I hopefully, like a lot of other people, watched Wrestle Kingdom and caught up on tidbits with New Year's Dash. I'm kind of in the middle on him being a free agent. I saw the statement and everything that he talked about, and to me, the most thing that I 100% believe is that he was like, I'm in the best shape my entire career, but as good as I look is as bad as I feel. So I mean, he's been gone full bore for a while now, and that match he had with Ibushi is now something you can do. Um, Really, that's not even a once a year thing. That's like a once every 5 years type of deal. But yeah, I don't know about him being a free agent. I feel like he's evolved to that level now where he can pull a work like that. But like I said, I do believe that he's definitely hurting. He probably needs a break. And it's vintage Jay White to be like, I failed on the biggest stage in New Japan, but somehow it's still their fault that they failed me. So to me, that's vintage Jay White at this point. But if he was by some chance a free agent, um, yeah, I'd sign him because the kid, I know you're certainly not in his fan club, but he is superbly talented. And he's only 20, and feel like we've yet to even see the guy peak. So it's like his ceiling is it's not even, he hasn't even nowhere near reached that. That's what it feels like. But I don't know how, because somebody kind of called it out. They're like, who the freak knows who Jay White is over here in terms of specifically a WWE artist because they so damn mentally bubbleized. But yeah, I mean, I'd sign.
So I think one of the interesting things that really isn't being discussed as a possibility, but really is, New Japan, All Japan, Noah, and like a bunch of other smaller promotions in Japan came together over the summer to make a plea
Yeah,
to the Japanese government about helping them out financially and making sure that one another supports one another in this trying times. And it was like a really big moving thing. So my thought is if Jay White isn't leaving Japan, because right now I don't think they're allowing any flights in or out. So it's not like he could leave if he wanted to. They're on a full-on lockdown. Maybe a little movement allowed, but not a lot of movement allowed. I think what you could end up seeing is Jay White maybe end up in Noah for a spell. And now
mm,
Noah, I don't want to say because like when Noah was hot from like '03 to '07, they were the biggest thing in Japanese wrestling. They rivaled New Japan and All Japan in every facet of the way. Kenta Kobashi was huge. I don't want to say they're even touching that yet. Like, let's say that's like Yao Ming size height. We're maybe at Sean Marion height here. Still 6'8", impressive. But Yao is 7'5", is 7'5". That's a long way to go still. But Noah has gained a lot of fans over the last 6-7 months because Go Shizaki has been slaughtering his matches. And that poor man and his body just wrecked. And now in early February 12th, I think, he's going to be facing off with Great Muta, technically Keiji Muto, in a title match. Now, Muto is 55, 56, 57. He's got knee replacements, and I think he's got a hip replacement, and I'm pretty sure he's got a goatee replacement. So he's not exactly a spring chicken. He's not exactly a spry young man. But that's going to be a big match to get eyes on the show, and people will tune in. That seems like the perfect night for Go Shizaki to have like that star-making, career-making, I beat Muto win, and then get dropped by a debuting Jay White. And we've seen talent exchanges before between Noah and New Japan. Granted, in that time, it was when New Japan kind of owned part of Noah, and now Noah has a third different owner at this point, but this new ownership group is really committed to Noah, unlike the last two. So, I think the relationship there with the guys who run Noah is still healthy, even if the ownership is different, and I think it's a possibility. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying, like, this is like the Katy Perry dark horse option of what Jay White could be leading up to. Because, like, Minoru Suzuki and Suzuki-gun spent 2 years in Noah until they came back to New Japan. And that was them being basically on assignment. I forget what the exact words are. What is it, Marcus, when they send someone excursion?
Yeah, excursion, yeah.
Yeah, so technically it was an excursion, but still, I could see Jay White do a year in Noah. It would give him a whole new, fresh set of things to do. And I think it would really put Japanese wrestling on its ear for a little while because Go Shizaki and Jay White would be a hell of a matchup. Because Shizaki could finally knock off that puberty beard into the Pacific Ocean. Bitch, we know you're just wearing LeBron James's hairspray. We know it.
Oh,
no. We know it's just you're just filling in the gaps. So, I see you, Jay Watt. Also, did you realize that OVW is really coming hard with this new 2021 shtick? Apparently, they had a live show or are gonna have a live show. I think it's like their version of the Royal Rumble. I think is what it is. Brian Pillman was their TV champion, I think, or their OVW heavyweight champion, and Jesse Goddard is one of their champions now too. Like, this is like they're quietly putting together a little tiny roster, and the reason why I did the Genesis review on the website, Mark, is because I want to start covering more random ass wrestling, and OVW is going to be one of those things I check back into. So I mean, I don't know, like if you're kind of snoozing on the mainstream, maybe check out OVW. It's basically free. I don't know. Might be worth checking out.
Yeah, that's definitely interesting. What was the promoting some type of return? Was it ECW or something?
And who? What?
Some company that was promoting some type of return or something, and everybody was like on it.
Well, I saw someone was trying to say that they were going to do a return of WCW. But that's not gonna happen, man. That's not gonna happen even slightly. Could you imagine Vince McMahon letting that fucking trademark lapse? Oh my God! If they let that trademark lapse, I mean, I wouldn't mind doing a Buff Bagwell Disco Inferno main event. Have Scott Steiner do commentary. That'd be great. Oh, Marcus, maybe next week that's what we got to do. We need to go and look up who is still active or active-ish and put together a WCW card for next week. That's going to be our thing.
Well, I'm gonna get one of the black guys out of the way now. Sorry, Booker T, and you're gonna have to pull double duty because I'm gonna make you commentate and then commentate yourself into a match.
Wait, what was his Black Snow? Was that what it was? His commentator name?
I gotta go back. I gotta go back and listen. But that was the fact
Uh,
that Kevin Nash just sat back and just let him do his thing. It's hilarious.
I need Booker T if he's gonna still because like Booker T with the high top fade is like peak Booker T, but I also understand that he's been growing his dreads out for 20 years. I'm not gonna ask
Yeah,
him to shave it, like that would be mean. But also, if he were to do the high top fade again, that'd be great. But also, if he doesn't, I'm gonna need him to do his African accent the entire night and refer to Africa as a country because that just needs to be a thing. In my home country of Africa. Oh, Booker. Oh, you tried. So, yes, next week, sincerely, we're each going to pitch our own 6 to 8 match card of active ish WCW stars. So, this is going to be a thing. It's going to be a thing. Hopefully, I remember to do it because I'm going to have a lot of fun. Let's see. Lastly, we had Impact's Genesis Saturday night. Saturday night. I watched it because like I was asleep when it first aired because we didn't do a show Saturday. I got up around 2, 3 in the morning and I couldn't sleep, so I was like, "All right, I'll watch the show now." And I'll tell you what, I liked it. It was a damn good show. I loved the Super X Cup. Marcus, did you get a chance to check out Genesis 2001, 2021, I should say?
yeah. I checked out some stuff, man. It was just cool to see some new vibrancy put into um the X division, showing off some of these new guys. Man, they got some unique flavor. Kind of reminds me of like what that was back in 2011 when they did that Ultimate X match. You had what I think Aries, somebody like Evans, Zema Ion, and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. And I think
Um,
Kid Cash.
yeah, yeah, it kind of felt like that in a way. So, yeah, like you said, great X division action. Somebody who won't be getting any credit is freaking Josh. But
He's
yeah,
awful.
good show overall.
Like it's not even it's it's not even that he's not good. It's that he is belligerently awful. And like I can't pull any examples off the top of my head right now. Some of them are in the article on the website realnerdcorp.com. But there are so many times where he blatantly makes it harder to get guys over. So he needs to go. They need to. I don't know why they're so hesitant to replace him. It's not like they could do worse because he's quite literally the worst thing that they have going on commentary. When Madison finally does step away, because apparently she's leaving sometime soon, I would replace them
Mm.
both simultaneously. And I would make sure Matt Stryker's one of the guys on commentary because he can at least make you care about what you're watching. But that's just me. So Blake Christian, Casey Navarro, and Trey Lamar were the three gets new guys, the new dudes for the show. Trey Lamar I thought was fine. I really thought Casey Navarro was a star on the screen. Athletic, body, face, attitude. Him and Ace Austin would be a killer tag team. And Blake Christian was like, he was the worker. He was the guy that, everyone apparently showed up to see. So that was pretty cool. I really liked the cousin Jake Davari match. It was a nice hoss fight for an X Division match, which I thought was cool. And I really thought Jake was going to go over because he's in this thing with Cody Deaner and like he's getting kind of a little bit of a rub there, and he's going to be involved in the hard to kill 6-man tag, if I remember correctly, with Rhino and Tommy Dreamer. So he's getting rubbed there, and I thought this was his tournament to win, and he loses to who is it? Ace Austin in the second round. I was like, oh, all right, I guess that's a thing. I'm kind of pissed Crazy Steve didn't go to the finals either. Like, what are you doing? Like you had a
Hmm.
chance to build some guys up and you didn't take it, so I was kind of miffed about that. Ace Austin got the win. Really good match with Blake Christian in the finals. My only real kind of critique is the X Division Super X Cup tournament a trophy looks like it's $5. They gotta put a little money into that. Like you look at like the G1 Climax trophy. That thing's like 16 stories tall. You can rent the apartment in the top of it. Has a 6-car garage, 2 subways, one restaurant, one actual subway. You look at this thing; it's a little rinky dink. They got it's a bowling trophy. They just fucking stuck a label over. It's like, come on, man, you gotta do better than that. Marcus, what do you think of Jazz and Jordan Grace? Because that was a match that was on this card as well.
That was some good stuff. I dig the fact that this is the second time that we've had somebody. Um, because obviously we saw what Tessa and Gail, but like the young new up and coming chick face off against the absolute legend of Jazz, and that was another Haas type of deal, and that was cool. Specifically with everything that's been going on with them from a tag perspective. So like you said, and I think you tweeted about this, kind of felt like that mutual respect, passing of the torch, and Jazz is making so she rides out her career on a high note, doing the right thing.
I really was impressed with this match because they didn't do the awful Shawn Michaels go heel nonsense. So
Hmm.
I appreciated that. Jazz isn't as mobile as I thought she would be in a one-on-one match. That was a little bit, I don't want to say off-putting. She's 48. Like, come on. Like, there are allowances to be had here, but I thought she did a really good job for being 48. Although, if she's not wanting to be done, I don't think you do anything with her outside of a tag team. I think you need to protect her with a tag team partner. That's just how I feel. I think that's the best way to go with her. But I liked it. Putting over Jordan Grace clean like that, it was a fantastic thing. And the main event, Marcus, was fantastically brutal. It was truly one of those kinds of matches that made somebody. And even though technically Willie Mack won, no one, if you watch the match, it was one sided for most of the fight. Moose was pretty dominant until where Swan came out and he's like, "I'll give you a title shot if you stop." And he's like, "All right, cool. I got my title shot, and that's all I wanted." So later, what do you think of the main event?
No, I dug it, man. Paying attention, but we have. And the whole thing with Mac, I think he kind of needed this because he needed to turn up the aggression because he was kind of in limbo for a minute there. Like ever since he had dropped the title and stuff, and then didn't even feel like he was a big deal when he had that. So, he kind of needed something like this. Obviously, he could use more wins in the near future, but this is he kind of part of the Moose narrative right now. Like you said, he got what he wanted. So all roads leading to, I guess, Moose Nation.
Here's hoping. Moose may come with a little bit of baggage from past incidents, or I should say past accusations, but I don't think Impact is in a place right now where they can't put the belt on him. Like this isn't like having Joey Ryan on your team and going there. Like I think Moose is in a decent enough place, both as a character, as a wrestler, and as a personality in the general mainstream that people won't have too much of a fit with it. And to be fair, look at some of the other companies around and ask yourself, Randy Orton's still employed. You really gonna be upset? Like really? Like you're gonna be upset? I don't think so. So like his baggage does kind of give me a pause for concern. But I've been so into his work for so many years that like I'm willing to take the hit of any negative press that comes with putting the belt on him, mostly because he might be worth it as a guy because he's like I don't want to say strong style, but he's as American strong style as you get, and he can work. So like it's just it makes too much sense not to do it.
Yep.
Yeah. Marcus, any final thoughts on this week's show?
No, that pretty much covers it, man.
So we're gonna say goodbye. Marks and I will be back next week. We're gonna come up with our own WCW dream cards of 50-year-old wrestlers doing things. I'm looking forward to this. It's gonna be awful. Zach and I will be back tomorrow night, and we'll be back Friday as well. I think we might talk Cobra Kai Friday. Marcus, have you gotten around to watching Cobra Kai yet? Season 3?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, if we do Cobra Kai review on Friday, maybe we'll put out a request for you to join us if you're free.
Okay. I do.
Saturday we're doing stuff for games and comics and stuff, I'm sure, and then I'm sleeping Sunday. No. When is the Browns game? I need to see where the Browns game is. I think the Browns game might be Saturday night. So we might not have a show Saturday. But we'll keep you updated on the Twitter at NERDCORP. The website's realnerdcorp.com, REALNERDCORP.com. You can find us on Instagram at realnerdcorp. Marcus, you're on Twitter at ParadoxKid, ParadoxKid.
That is me.
You can also find him on his other podcast, The True Penny Show, TruePennyShow. Be sure to check that out.
Yep.
I'm on Twitter at Chad Nerdcorp, ChadNerdCorp. You can go check me out there. And on Instagram at Chad's Photo Hut. Finally uploaded some new photos. That's all we got. Twitch.tv/Wrestling Underground, Twitch.tv/Real Nerd Corp. We're also on YouTube.com/The Wrestling Underground. And YouTube.com by searching Real Nerd Corp. So go check us out on our other accounts and whatnot. Follow us, like us, subscribe, and all that good stuff. For Mark Street, I'm Chad Pardo. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for checking us out. Thanks for giving us a chance. We're back for 2021. It's going to be a year, folks. Marcus, take us home.
Good night, mate.